Before the sun touched the Karakoram peaks, a lone traveler listened, and what she heard in the silence of snow would follow her all the way home.
It's 2:20 a.m. I'm still buried in the Himalayan Club journal's century-old field notes from the Himalayas. It's like diving deep into the documented history of the Himalayas from the early 1900s. The journals cover everything, from indigenous wisdom, cultural myths, to epic expeditions and groundbreaking discoveries. These forgotten stories are brought to life by synthetic voices in the Himalayan Journals podcast. Subscribe, zone out, binge, and pass it to a fellow mountain junkie.
What did a Karakoram trek sound like when the morning began before dawn and the Orioles called across camp at 4:30 a.m.? Dr. Elizabeth Teasdale listened, looked, and wrote as a humble beginner with one bird book in her bag, and she tried to name what she saw. She and her husband, whom she called A, reached Srinagar early in April and stayed mostly on a houseboat until the end of the month when the Mashabrum expedition left. She did not fish or climb, so she spent long days with field glasses, camera, and exposure meter while A fished the trout streams. On the residency lawn, hoopoes worked. The gardens were full of blossom, and a tame hoopoe perched on an electric light shade. Red-rumped swallows paired off on every houseboat and built a nest under the duckboard by their plank to shore, which disappeared when they moved through the dowel gate. Blue kingfishers were few. Pied kingfishers fished in the dell, and a picnic to Chashmashahi brought a pair of Brahmani mynas. Near the Nishat Bog, she saw a colony of storks in untidy nests, and at Nagim Bog, brown-fronted pied woodpeckers drilled round holes in the chinar trunks. Towards the end of April, they went to the Bringi and Kokernag streams. She noted black-headed golden orioles in fruit blossom, white-capped and plumbous redstarts on river boulders, brown dippers flying low, and friendly wagtails, pied, white, and yellow. In Woyal village, she watched a paradise flycatcher with a long white tail in an apple tree and a spotted forktail on a streamstone. From camp, she heard the whistling thrush before dawn, the cuckoo, gray tits, herons in the evening, and the loud chip of what she thought was a large-crowned willow wren on every willow. Near the Kokernag forest bungalow, white peonies were in bloom, and a yellow-billed blue magpie flashed its long blue tail. She found a brown dipper's nest under a flour mill and a white-capped redstart's nest under a nearby boulder. On 12th May, she and A started for the Karakoram. They waited for ponies to cross the Zoji, saw familiar birds in the Sindh Valley, and reached Baltal at noon on the 16th of May. At midnight, they climbed by full moon straight up the ravine. Owls hooted, and at the top, she rode on. Around 4 a.m., larks sang, and just after sunrise, a cuckoo called in the snow. Matayan held Tibetan ravens, rock pigeons, sparrows, crested larks, jackdaws, and a small brown bird with a scarlet beak that she could not identify. On the 18th of May, they went to Dras, where spring had burst and the garden was alive with birds. She saw her first Baltistan magpie, larger than the English bird, glossy with blue-green iridescence, and it became a daily companion thereafter. She noted black redstarts, lesser whitethroat, chiffchaff, golden oriole, hoopoe, goldfinches, and a short-billed minivet pair with a male vivid scarlet. From Dras onward, she saw redstarts every day in a steady order by altitude, white-capped lower, plummeous higher, and black redstart from about 10,000 feet. On passes and cliffs, she saw choughs, crag martins, and blue rock pigeons. Along the Indus, the magpies grew tamely attentive, At Tarkuti, 2 magpies almost camped with them, and by the river, they found 2 dead lammergeiers, wings outspread, 10 feet apart, with a dead chough between. There was no sign of injury, and the wedge-shaped tails and great size were clear to measure. They reached Parkuta, found a small terrace under apricots, and pitched their tent beneath a golden oriole's nest. The oriole's liquid notes at dusk and dawn were superb. They turned east along the Shock to Kapalu, noted many orioles, and in the villages, many goitras. On the 3rd of June, they went north into the Hush Valley. As they climbed higher, the country grew cold and stony. She saw lammergeiers, tawny and black eagles, a Montague's harrier, snow pigeon, pale chukor at about 13,500 feet, and heard the cuckoo. They reached their final camp on 5th June, 3 miles above Hush at about 11,500 feet, among juniper and streams, with marsha broom often in cloud. For nearly 3 weeks, in cold, wet, and mist, bird watching filled the days. On the first evening, hundreds of tiny brown birds filled a juniper at the foot of the moraine, then vanished by morning. Around camp, parties of small birds chattered from the junipers. She identified red-billed leothrix, the pekin robin of shop cages, not shy here, greenish-brown with bright yellow throats and crimson in the wings for the males and scarlet beaks for both sexes. 2 mysteries remained. At night, a song like a mechanical toy winding up, then running down. By day, a shy pair about 9 inches long with a vivid scarlet forehead tufted on the male and olive and primrose wings, which she described carefully but could not name. On 8th June, she noted gray tits, a dark gray bush chat, sooty flycatcher, a missile thrush, and Himalayan tree creepers. From 14th June, despite bad weather, familiar birds migrated up, including plummis and black redstarts, meadow buntings, stone chat, red-headed tits, goldfinches, a Central Asian blackbird, and black-crested tits, with daily choughs and often lammergeiers. On the 19th of June, a perfect day arrived. With no news from the mountain, they went down valley for shikar, saw flowers massed, and near a thicket watched a pair of bluethroats. They were recalled by an SOS after an accident at the highest camp. The return was hurried. On 28th June, they left Hush. She noted a spotted forktail, a Siberian chat, a white-breasted Asiatic dipper, and a white wagtail, then rose finches in Shiak villages, and near Kargil, a vivid purple thrush. The journey back to Srinagar left little time to observe, but the sound of birds had followed her all the way.